655-55 Jacksonville. He's Hacker.
Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Tuesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us. Another rainy evening here in Jacksonville, Florida. Good grief. I know over in the Mandarin area, my mom's got one of those rain gauges outside her house in her backyard. Something like 13 inches of rain in the last 6 days over there. Just will not stop raining. Man, so be careful out there on those roadways because they are awfully, awfully wet again. We're happy you're with us until 10 o'clock tonight. There's a lot to get into in the world of sports. And some of you may be looking for an outlet to the sports world tonight with other things going on television beginning in about an hour. Twitter will be an absolute garbage can tonight, Denmark. I'm going to be on Twitter for the duration of our program, and then I'm just going to log off of social media at 10 o'clock.
I mean, nothing's going on tonight.
And wash my hands of it because there's nothing quite like people stating their opinion on political issues on social media and thinking their opinion is going to change your opinion. I've always found that fascinating. But no political talk, thank goodness, here on 1010XL for at least the next hour and 56 minutes. Guest lineup tonight looks like this. Connor O'Gara, SaturdayDownSouth.com, one of my favorites to talk college football with. We'll talk Florida, Texas A&M. We'll talk Florida State, Memphis. We'll also look around the rest of the Southeastern Conference with Connor O'Gara of Saturday Down South. He comes up in less than 20 minutes. Also, the truth teller, Rick Ballou, will join me to preview the Seminoles and the Memphis Tigers. That comes up at the top of the 9 o'clock hour. Later on, Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4 as we turn the page on the Dolphins and begin looking ahead Sunday to the Jaguars and the Cleveland Browns. Speaking of the Jaguars and the Cleveland Browns on this rainy Tuesday night, here in Jacksonville, Florida, I think the good men and women of Northeast Florida should be rewarded in listening to Hacker After Dark here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. And every once in a while, Denmark and I like to give back to you, those before mentioned hard-working men and women. So I will tell you this, not now, but in less than 10 minutes, I'm willing to bet you have an opportunity to go to Jacksonville, Cleveland, Sunday at Everbank Stadium. Just stay tuned. I would imagine it's going to happen within the next 10 minutes or so. We will give you a chance to get your hands on a pair of tickets to Jaguars-Browns coming up Sunday afternoon. Of course, a game you will hear right here on 1010XL. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night. And Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal? What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
So I mentioned this with Ballou earlier. And Florida Gator fans, I'm talking to you. The diehards, the orange and blue blood pumping through your veins. I have a question for you. And my question is a simple one, but maybe the answer is a little more complex. Gator fans are very passionate. Gator fans are very loyal. Gator fans are very stubborn as well, at least most of you. And when you make a decision on something or someone, it does not change. You made a decision on Will Muschamp. Well, first you made a decision on Ron Zook, and he was gone. Then you made a decision on Will Muschamp, and he was gone. You made a decision on Jim McElwain. He was shown the door. And then most recently, you made a decision on Dan Mullen, and he was shown the door. Now, a majority of you, a vast majority of you, have already made a decision on Billy Napier. And in the past, with Zook, Muschamp, McElwain, and Mullen, once the fan base made a decision, well, they didn't win any more games to maybe change your opinion. All four of those guys kind of went in the toilet anyway, and they were either fired or resigned. So there was not a change of heart among Gator Nation. You've made a decision on Billy Napier. Fair enough. He's 11-15 in 26 games. I can't fault you for that. Most of you want Billy Napier gone. Most of you want Lane Kiffin in Gainesville. Maybe we'll get to that at some point down the road. But have you thought about what happens on Saturday at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium at Florida Field if Billy Napier beats Texas A&M? Right? They beat the Aggies. And then next week, they go to Starkville, an 11 a.m. Central kick out in Starkville, and they beat Mississippi State. Well, wait a minute. Then they're all of a sudden 3-1 going into a bye week. And then they come back from that bye week, and they beat UCF to get to 4-1. Have you seen Kentucky lately? They're not any good either. Then you beat Kentucky, and you got 5 wins. Now, it does get harder after that, but stick with me here. Can Billy Napier save himself in your eyes? Can Billy Napier, by stringing together 2, 3, or 4 wins in a row over the next month or so, can he get back in your good graces? Or, just like with Zook, Muschamp, McElwain, and Mullen, has your decision already been made and you really don't care what happens from here on out? Do I expect Florida to rattle off 4, 5, 6 wins in a row? No, I don't. I would be lying to you if I said I did. But it's a what-if scenario. You never had to worry about that with Zook or Muschamp or McElwain or Mullen because after your mind was made up, the team didn't get any better. There was not a lot of improvement. The only one you could argue was Zook after you fired him. He goes into Doak Campbell Stadium and beats Florida State, but he had already been fired. Certainly Muschamp, McElwain, and Mullen, those teams tanked out to end their respective tenures. What if in this case the opposite happens? What if you've already made your mind up, you want Napier gone, and then he starts rattling off some wins beginning this Saturday against Texas A&M? You know, I remember it wasn't that long ago where Florida fans, some of my brethren were saying, man, I just wish Mike Norvell would win a couple of games in Tallahassee so Florida State would have to keep him. Mike Norvell is the best thing that's ever happened to Florida Gator football or Miami Hurricane football with what he's doing to Florida State. But then all of a sudden, Mike Norvell did rattle off a couple of wins, and then a couple of more wins, and then a couple of more wins, and recruiting picked up, and all of a sudden, Mike Norvell became one of the best coaches in college football. Yeah, they're off to a slow start this year, but stay with me. Could the same thing happen with Billy Napier? I know it doesn't seem likely, but talk to Florida State fans 2 years ago. Did you ever think 2 years ago you would be signing Mike Norvell to an 8-year contract extension? Of course you didn't. Florida State fans, you wanted him out of there. Out of there. Just like Florida wants Billy Napier out of there. But again, what happens if Napier begins to win some games beginning this Saturday against Texas A&M? Is there already past a point of no return for you when it comes to Billy Napier? Or are you open to the idea of sticking with Billy if some wins start accumulating? Hit me up on the text line. Designed by Lifetime Enclosures, 641-1010. Denmark, a Florida Gator alum, one of the co-hosts of the award-winning Denmark and Marsh podcast, which, by the way, all kidding aside, you guys do a good job with that.
Thank you.
As a Gator alum, what if Billy Napier does rattle off some wins here beginning Saturday? Can he come back from Gator Nation?
It's the same thing as last year. We'll think that we have something, then we'll go to November, and then we won't have anything. The guy doesn't do anything well to where you want Billy Napier to stay for another year. We all want to, people want to talk about the recruiting. This guy had a top 15 recruiting class last year when it was in the top 5.
Let me
There's
ask you this.
There's nothing on the field that he does where it says, I want to keep this guy for next year because he does this so well.
All right, let me ask you this. That's fair. Let's say he beats A&M, Mississippi State, UCF, Kentucky.
Okay.
That's 5. Lose to Tennessee, lose to Georgia, lose to Texas. That's 5 and 4. Let's say inexplicably he gets one of LSU, Ole Miss, and gets Florida State at the end of the year to go to 7 and 5.
Okay.
Do you want him back next year?
No.
At 7 and 5, you'd let him go.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay, here's the thing.
With wins over Florida State and either LSU or Ole Miss.
I told you before the season, Billy Napier will never win at a high level at the University of Florida.
So I think you answered my question then. I think you being a Gator alum, not to put words in your mouth, I'm just deciphering what you're saying, you are past the point of no return. It literally doesn't matter what Billy Napier does.
I mean, my mind can change, but I saw the Miami game. I saw how they looked last week. This is not like Cristobal where they were okay his first 2 years, and then now they put in that performance week 1. You're like, damn, Cristobal's got a real good team. I don't have that with Florida. I saw what they did against Miami. I can't get that out of my head. I can't get that they were so unprepared. They couldn't get a first down. They couldn't do anything offensively, and he was the offensive guy.
But if you said that you would fire him at 7 and 5, if your mind has not changed at 7 and 5, I got news for Gator fans. You're not going any better than 7 and 5 this year. 7 and 5 would be a ridiculously good coaching job from here on out. It means you're going 6 and 4 playing this schedule the rest of the way, where your easiest game is arguably on the road at Mississippi State. If you go 6 and 4 in the next 10 to get to 7, and in your mind that doesn't save Billy Napier, then that Florida's not doing any better than that in 2024. Wrap your mind around that one pretty quick. I just want to see what happens. Because I want Florida to win some games. It's better for business, better for all those involved with Gator football, including media, if Florida shows a little life. But more so because it would be the exact opposite of what happened with McElwain, Mullen, and Muschamp. When Florida fans made their minds up on those guys, nothing happened to change it. Zook, again, went into Tallahassee and beat Florida State, but he had already been fired prior to that game. If Zook hadn't been fired prior to that game, who knows? Maybe Zook would have saved his job by winning that game on Bobby Bowden Field there in Tallahassee. Florida fans, hit me up on the text line, 641-1010. Is there room for Billy Napier to salvage himself for you, or are you past the point of no return and it really from this point forward doesn't matter what happens? I'm curious. Maybe we'll put a poll out there as well. I mentioned we like to give back here on Hacker After Dark, and we're going to give back right now. The Cleveland Browns, the Jacksonville Jaguars, Sunday, 1 o'clock, Everbank Stadium, the home opener. Big game for both teams, man. All you have to do is be caller 4 right now at 641-1010. And Dylan Denmark will hook you up with a pair of tickets to Sunday's game, a game you will hear right here on 1010XL Radio. Caller 4, 641-1010, a pair of tickets to the Jaguars and the Browns this Sunday at Everbank Stadium. Connor O'Gara, Saturday Down South, talking college ball with you. That's coming up next.
A sturdy defense keeps your end zone safe like a Superior fence keeps your family and pets safe.
It's fantastic.
After the game, catch the Superior Fence and Rail Defensive Player of the Game.
What a baller.
On 1010XL.
Baloo for Shinatri Chiropractic. They've helped me get rid of my headaches and pain in my neck and back. Are you suffering from an auto accident? What about TMJ pain? Headaches associated with jaw clenching, grinding of the teeth, or stress-related disorders? Shinatri Chiropractic has a physical therapist on staff for rehabilitation, quality chiropractic care, dry needling, massage, and acupuncture. Call 743-6700 or go to ShinatriDC.com.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hayes Carlyon for MyBookie. Football is back. Winning season is back. MyBookie's here to make sure you're ready to cash in on the action. This season, MyBookie is pulling out all the stops with incredible promotions like weekly risk-free boosts on Thursdays, where you can bet without a sweat. If your bet hits, you win big, and if it doesn't, forget it. MyBookie will refund your wager. But that's just the beginning. MyBookie is giving away hundreds of thousands in prizes with their Super Survivor and Squares contests. Get your entries in now for a shot at huge cash rewards. For a limited time, they are bringing back the double deposit bonus when you're ready to get started. Use my promo code 1010XL to claim a bonus that doubles your money on your very first deposit with promo code 1010XL before you even place a bet. Remember, exclusive giveaways and bigger rewards. MyBookie is the lock of the century. Bet on anything, anywhere, anytime, and make sure your season is a winning one.
Zebra.
Zebra is back by overwhelming demand. Saturday night, September 14th, live at the Florida Theater in Jacksonville, performing songs from all 5 Zebra albums.
Zebra.
Get tickets now before they're gone at floridatheater.com. Zebra with all original members, Saturday night, September 14th. Tickets on sale now. Don't miss.
Zebra.
Hey folks, this is Dave Benyon with my son Ammon here from Zero Res. Ammon, you've been cleaning air ducts for a while now. What are some of the reasons customers might consider getting their air ducts cleaned?
There are many reasons. Many times, people suffer needlessly from poor indoor air quality produced by the conditions in their air system. Construction dust, the presence of bacterial growth, and years' worth of buildup all come together to make your air ducts a pretty gross place. If you suffer from allergies, have recently moved, recently remodeled, or have never had your air ducts cleaned, then now is the best time to call. By calling Zero Res, you'll have the peace of mind of knowing that you called the best of the best. Our state-of-the-art truck mount system and top-of-the-line service representatives simply can't be found anywhere else. Google Zero Res and read thousands of 5-star reviews.
So what kind of deals can I expect?
Just mention that you heard us on the radio, and we'll give you $100 off your air duct cleaning.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty great deal. Remember, folks, Zero Res,
spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
CEROREC. Zero Res.
Oh my goodness. Fishing is more fun when you catch something.
Yeah!
Listen for the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show with Captain Kevin.
Woo-hoo!
Brought to you by Veterans Wholesale Cabinets and Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010XL AM.
Prosser here. Hey, pick a news source. But the reports are home prices are expected to decline in 2025, even after the election. So you need to maximize your home sales price now before this downturn, and you can do it with the agents proven to sell for top dollar, Chad and Sandy Newman. Hey, perhaps you're worried about selling for less money with a lowball out-of-state instant offer, or maybe you want maximum equity from your home, but you're not sure how. That's why you turn to Chad and Sandy, who have the answers. No required costly repairs. Chad and Sandy are the local real estate experts I trust and recommend for the sale of your home. Tony and Maggie at Jack's Golf and Country Club said, "We recently had a job transfer and we needed to sell fast. With homes in our area struggling to sell inside 100 days, we didn't know what to do. Our worries were solved when we hired Chad and Sandy. Our home sold in 3 days for one of the highest prices ever in our neighborhood at over $1 million. Call the local experts we trust, 904-414-6200 or ChadAndDSandy.com.
Hello, I'm Malcolm Anthony. I've been practicing criminal defense law for over 40 years. It's what I love to do, it's what I do well. Stay out of trouble, but if you don't, call me, Malcolm Anthony, at 2854-LAW. 2854-LAW for Malcolm Anthony.
AC replacement? If your AC unit is ready to go kaput, then it's time to call Florida Home AC. With over $3,000 in tax credits waiting for you on select systems, take advantage of it. Call 777-4300. Get Florida Home AC to cool you off.
Don't bet the National Football League this season without your VSiN NFL betting guide. Betting previews for all 32 teams, betting trends, VSiN's exclusive in-depth win total projections, and a guide on how to use betting splits to bet and win. Download your free copy of the guide right now, featuring a betting preview of your Jacksonville Jaguars. 1010XL.com. That's 1010XL.com.
At the First Coast YMCA, you'll find much more than just a gym. We offer many ways to help you be active, reach weight loss goals, and find your inner strength while you connect with your community. Family memberships at the Y include unlimited group exercise classes, childcare while you work out, and youth sports participation. It's easy to join the Y and affordable for all. Plus, the Y is a great place to meet a new circle of friends. Visit the Y near you or online at fcymca.org.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line. Hello. We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Boy, a big Saturday of college football coming up. Two big games in our state. Both Florida and Florida State really needing wins. Florida State looking to get off the canvas and get their first win of the year. And Billy Napier desperately needs a win over Texas A&M. Let's talk about those games as well as the rest of the action in college football this week with Connor O'Gara. He does a terrific job for Saturday Down South, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Connor, how you doing?
I'm doing well, man. You know, I love talking about the state of Florida, all these programs that feel like, don't they always just feel like they are in their own soap opera, the way that this plays out? And gosh, it feels like we are already there in various ways with the big time programs in this state.
There's no doubt a couple of soap operas going on right now in Tallahassee, but a big one going on in Gainesville. And Connor, I made this point before the Miami game, and I guess it's even magnified more now after the result of that Miami game for the Gators. You know, Mike Elko is in game 3 as the A&M head coach. This is going to be his first game on the road and his first SEC game as the A&M head coach. And if he comes into Gainesville and they beat Billy Napier and the Gators, who are obviously in year 3 under Coach Napier, Connor, that's going to be pretty damning, right? I mean, this is a big one for Billy on Saturday.
I'll do you one better. Texas A&M has not won a true road game in almost 3 years. October 16th, 2021 was the last time that Texas A&M won a true road game. Now, that's excluding the times that they beat up on Arkansas at Jerry World, and they seemingly always find a way to beat the Hogs, even though that rivalry is closer than expected. But the way that it has played out for the Aggies in road games has been, well, they don't have the 12th man anymore, and they have really struggled the last few years with being able to protect the quarterback and with having some sort of defensive identity in these spots. So that only adds to this notion that Billy's got to get this one. And I'm not saying that he gets fired if he loses this game, but the ball really gets rolling if he loses this game. This makes that hole to get out of for him that much deeper, because everybody knows what awaits in the second half of the schedule. And while I definitely agree that the schedule isn't quite as daunting as what it looked like in the first part when we were talking about this throughout the offseason, it's still a difficult schedule for a team that, if they look like they can't beat A&M, who are they going to beat in the SEC? I mean, that's the question that we start asking. So it's a game that he's got a ton of pressure on. And if you're going to double down on this quarterback situation with Graham Mertz, despite the fact that everybody and their mother is clamoring for more DJ Lagway, you'd better be right, and you'd better start to be right now.
Connor O'Gara of Saturday Down South. Connor, you just alluded to it there. What's your take on the whole Graham Mertz, DJ Lagway situation?
It's not surprising if you've listened to Billy Napier talk about Graham Mertz. So from that standpoint, I don't have this outrage that maybe I should have. Maybe I should be a little bit more upset. But I've listened to Billy Napier talk about Mertz for the last, 20 months. And during that time, he has put all of his eggs in this basket. The way that Billy Napier sees his quarterback room is Mertz is the guy. He's the veteran that can handle this difficult schedule, and we're going to develop DJ Lagway. We're going to try and get him involved. And then this is going to line up. My plan is going to be for DJ Lagway to be the guy in 2025. 2025 is a long ways away. And for those of us who are looking at this objectively, it's very difficult to see Billy Napier getting to 2025. And I'd rather see DJ Lagway in 2024 and not Graham Mertz. That is my opinion. Objectively, as someone that wants to see this offense do things that I don't think it's capable of doing with Graham Mertz. And I think Mertz has exceeded expectations. I think he has exceeded a very low bar, but DJ Lagway can do different things. And even if that comes with some teachable moments, I do think that would be my preferred move if I were making it, but I'm not the one making it. And it's Billy Napier. Who knows? Maybe that'll be the decision that dooms his time in Gainesville.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. And I don't disagree. I want to see more of DJ Lagway, but I made this point, I think it was last week before the Samford game. If I'm Billy Napier, I need to beat Texas A&M on September 14th at 3:30. You know, I understand Gator fans want hope and Gator fans want this, that, and the other, and DJ Lagway provides that. But who provides the best chance to beat Texas A&M on Saturday, September 14th, which is in, 5 days or 4 days from now? To me, that would probably be Graham Mertz. Now, Lagway is going to play, but looking at it from Billy's point of view, knowing he needs to win on Saturday, it's hard to think the true freshman against an SEC defense on national TV would give you a better chance of winning than Graham Mertz would. But I do think we're going to see both guys.
I don't know, though. I don't know that we're going to see both guys because Billy spent the entire offseason telling us about this plan for Lagway. Did we see that before Graham Mertz went down with concussion against Miami? Because it didn't feel like there was a plan. It felt like there was a scenario that Billy didn't see playing out, and his team was getting blown out. And maybe we would have eventually seen Lagway, but it didn't feel like there was that plan that we were sort of promised. And I don't know how this is going to play out, but I do know that Texas A&M's defensive front can absolutely get after you. This is the strength of their team. They've got two guys in Shamar Turner and Nick Scorton that are going to be able to put pressure on the quarterback, whoever that is. And you could look at it two different ways. You could say, well, Mertz is the more experienced quarterback. He's the guy that's better suited to kind of handle that and navigate what that looks like. You would want him back there. Or you could say, well, DJ Lagway's got more mobility. And I've seen how that guy can throw off platform. I've seen the things that guy can do when things break down. And maybe you'd rather have him back there. We're going to play the results because that's ultimately what we do with this. But it is a question for whoever starts and whoever gets the majority of those reps. I expect that it'll still be Graham Mertz, but I do think that A&M is capable of testing this quarterback room in that way.
A couple more for Connor O'Gara of SaturdayDownSouth.com. You know, Connor, final Gator topic, and I hate we're doing this in the month of September, but if things go south quickly here, obviously Billy Napier is probably going to be shown the door. I hope that doesn't happen. I like Billy. I've defended Billy, although it was pretty hard to defend him after that Miami disaster a couple of weeks ago. But everybody down here is Lane Kiffin this and Lane Kiffin that. And my question to you is very simple. If it goes south for Billy here, and for whatever reason the Gator job were to open up, do you believe Lane Kiffin would pick up the phone if Florida called?
Yes, I do. I do. And it doesn't mean he would take it, but I think he would strongly consider it. I think the list of jobs that Lane would accept at this point to leave Ole Miss, I think it's 3 deep. I think it's probably Alabama, Ohio State, and Florida. Those three, maybe in that order as well. And obviously we saw how this Alabama situation played out. As long as Greg Vernon's there, I don't think that move is happening. But I do think that he would have to at least answer that. And if I'm Florida, that would be the first call I would make. And for all the headache that comes with Lane, ask yourself this. Is he one of the best coaches in this sport? Yes, I would say definitively he is. Now, obviously, I think he is not in that first tier. I kept bringing up the stat last year about how it had been 12 years since Lane Kiffin had beat a Power 5 team that won 9 regular season games. And he did that twice last year, to his credit, beat LSU and then beat Penn State in the bowl game. But still, that's going to be the question about Lane. And if he can't take that next step with this Ole Miss team, that's going to be the knock against him. But he's already in the discussion for best coach in program history at Ole Miss. He's significantly elevated them with what they've been capable of. And in this era with the transfer portal, it's hard to knock Lane and his style because it is definitely worked so far. So, yeah, I think that would be the first call you would have to make. And then obviously there are a lot of others who'd be very interested in that job.
You know, I can't believe we're talking about, Billy Napier in week 3 already being in trouble, but we are. And you moved to Tallahassee, Connor. I can't believe we're talking about an 0-2 Florida State team that desperately needs a win over Memphis, but yet here we are. You and I haven't spoke since the season started. I mean, what has happened to Mike Norvell and the Seminoles in these first 2 weeks?
Man, it's stunning. It really is. I picked Florida State to win the ACC. I said that they should be number 7 in the country coming into this season, and that Mike Norvell had earned blind faith. Buddy, was I wrong? Look, everybody is going to point to this model and say that it can't work. But the problem is that it got Florida State back out of the depths of college football hell. And it got them to the place they were at last year, which was 13-0 and in position to, in my opinion, deserve college football playoff bid. Now, obviously, you're not going to hit on everyone in the portal. But the reason I said Mike Norvell deserves blind faith is that he had, of his 10 guys that were drafted, 9 of them were former transfers. If you can go up to Albany and get a Jared Verse, I think you've earned my trust. And I trust your ability to scout, and I trust your ability to develop. Now, obviously, this team has significant shortcomings. The DJ Uyunglele whiff in the transfer portal, that's very well documented. But this defensive line that was being talked up before the opener, and Pete Thamel was talking about on College Game Day, like, there are NFL scouts who are like just locked into what the Florida State's defensive line can be. It's like they haven't stopped the run at all, and they look like a shell of their former selves. So they have issues across the board. It does appear to be something with a lot of the whiffs, but also, are you inspiring this team in the way that you need to? We're going to find out with this Norvell-Memphis reunion this weekend, which would just be a catastrophic loss for him personally, even though I do like Memphis a lot. But, yeah, man, it just goes to show you how quickly things can change in this sport. And if you've got a window, you better capitalize on it, or at least you better capitalize on the opportunities that you're given.
The one thing I think Florida State fans need to realize, Connor, going into this game on Saturday, and I know you know this, man, this is a gigantic opportunity for Memphis. And where we are in the 12-team playoff and one group of 5 school gets in, what a resume builder this would be for Memphis to go into Tallahassee and win. I would have to think the Memphis Tigers are going to throw everything, including the kitchen sink, at Florida State on Saturday.
No doubt about it. I had Memphis picked to be the group of 5 representative in the college football playoff this year while losing this game. So that just kind of shows you how things have changed. In the 14 playoff, obviously, this would be a game that they'd have to win to be able to get into the field, a la Cincinnati beating Notre Dame in South Bend. But instead, this is a game where I feel like it's kind of only upside for Memphis in a weird way. Like, they could still theoretically go 12-1 with a loss to Florida State and get into the playoff and probably be the highest ranked team if they win the AAC. But you're right. This game is huge. It's huge for perception, because if you're able to beat Mike Norvell, the guy who left your program, and show that you're capable of playing on that stage, to me, that's huge with the selection committee. And to sink Florida State to that kind of low would feel like it's the Willie Taggart era all over again. I mean, it really would. And I think that Florida State ultimately finds a way to be able to win. I'm kind of putting, I guess, a little bit too much blind faith in Mike Norvell again, but I'm just like, he can't lose this one, right? Like, you can't possibly lose this one against the Memphis team that's got a lot of experience on that offensive side of the ball with Seth Hennigan, who just feels like he's been in college forever. But yeah, man, I do think that this is a game that Florida State just finds a way to be able to come out with a win. They desperately need it.
Final moments, Connor O'Gara of Saturday Down South. Connor, 2 weeks in, small sample size, best team in the SEC, Georgia or Texas?
I'll go with Georgia. Just because that's what I had coming into the year. I had Texas beating Georgia in Austin, and then Georgia winning the rematch in the SEC championship, and then Georgia winning the grudge match in the national championship. So I love both programs. I had Texas starting off 12-0. Seeing what they did at Michigan wasn't necessarily a surprise. I thought Michigan would be an 8-4 team this year. But, man, those two teams, the statements that they made in non-conference play, they're in their own tier in the SEC. And I'll say that doesn't include yet a Tennessee or an Ole Miss or even an Alabama. I think Georgia and Texas, what they have shown us with the teams that they return, the production that they had coming back for those two head coaches, man, that's the cream of the crop in the SEC. And I'll give Georgia that slight edge just because when you've won a national championship, you deserve that. You're on that level. But yeah, Texas, man, all the questions we had about that team, defensive line, receiver, they looked like they answered it in spades on Saturday in a hostile atmosphere in the Big House. If you're still sleeping on them as a national title contender, I'd say wake up.
Biggest surprise in a positive way. I mean, certainly South Carolina. Dare I say Vanderbilt? Who's the biggest surprise positive-wise so far?
How about South Carolina's defensive line? That defensive line is the reason that they're hosting College Game Day for the first time in a decade. And I think a lot of people looked at that and went, what? And then they probably didn't realize that the rest of the slate wasn't particularly good. Big Noon was already going to be going to Alabama, Wisconsin. They weren't going to follow Big Noon for the second consecutive week. So it kind of made sense when you looked at the rest of the games. They weren't going to go to like Boston College, Mizzou. But their pass rush is unbelievable, man. If you haven't had a chance to sit down and watch Dylan Stewart yet, turn on ABC at noon on Saturday and treat yourself to a guy that's 18 years old that already looks like he could be the second coming of Jadeveon Clowney, and look at what they've been able to get in the portal with Kyle Kennard coming over from Georgia Tech. South Carolina has not had a pass rush like this in a long time. They have not had an entrenched identity this early in the season, probably since the Spurrier era. And what they did on that side of the ball to Kentucky's offensive line, which was not expected to be a total doormat coming into this season, to do that, man, it was unbelievably impressive. I wish I had spent a whole lot more time talking about that South Carolina defensive line. Even though the team has issues, they have holes on the offensive side of the ball for sure, most notably at the pass catcher spots. I do think that defensive line is a game changer, and it's going to be fascinating to see how they match up against first-round prospects at the tackle position for LSU with Will Campbell and Emory Jones Jr.
Connor, final question. I mentioned positive. Let's go to the other side. Let's go negative. I mean, Kentucky, that was eye-opening last Saturday. Auburn, boy, that has a bad loss at home. I mean, who's the biggest disappointment 2 weeks in?
Got to be Auburn. Got to be Auburn. Got to be Peyton Thorne. That game was so 2023. It felt like we were watching the New Mexico State game all over again. I thought Peyton Thorne was going to be the SEC's most improved player. And after 60 minutes of watching that Cal game, I'm like, it's just not there. It's not there. If you're not making that step at this stage of your career with an entire offseason in this system, to me, it's not going to happen. And you know what? I think that Hugh Freeze took a giant risk by not getting a quarterback out of the portal. And I talked myself into that logic as the offseason progressed. But, man, the decision-making that you saw from him against a Cal team that had very limited expectations, that flew 2,500 miles across the country with a bunch of 3-stars, to look like that at Jordan-Hare Stadium is an unforgivable thing to do at this stage of his career. And I know they have issues on the offensive line, but to me, that's such a disappointing group so far. I predicted that Auburn would go 8-4. And now with that schedule, if they can't figure out the quarterback position, if they're going to be shuffling the deck there throughout this season, they're not going to sniff 8-4. So for me, that's easily the biggest early season disappointment.
Connor, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville, man, Saturday Down South, and also the podcast that you do.
Yeah, appreciate that. I know Matt Hayes isn't doing work for us anymore. Unfortunately, we miss Matt. He's great at what he does. But still, if you can, check out SaturdayDownSouth.com. We have so much coverage each and every day. We cover it from the gambling perspective. We cover it from the preview, recap, everything in between, rankings, anything you could possibly want out of a college sports website, we have covered, and specifically with college football. We are so dialed in right now. And wherever you get your podcast, Saturday Down South podcast, 2 episodes per week. We've got Laura Rutledge coming on later this week. We've got a lot of great things planned this fall. So very, very exciting time. It's good to be back in football season, man.
He's one of our favorites, Connor O'Gara of SaturdayDownSouth.com. Connor, I know you're busy. Thank you for the time. We'll talk again soon.
Sounds good. Appreciate it, man.
That's right, I'm Tommy Mack, and it's all about Duval and defense. Offense, special teams, baby. Check me out every Friday from 10 to noon on Jaguars Today.
Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss. You know, I've been on this journey now for almost 7 months. I started back on February the 20th, and on February the 20th, I weighed in at an absolutely whopping 317 pounds. Yeah, 317, man. You know what I weighed this morning? I weighed 223 this morning. That's 94 pounds plus that I've lost since February 20th. And it's all thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss. You want to talk about life-changing? Heck, you want to talk about saving my life? And I don't say that lightly. Awaken 180 is the best weight loss program I've ever been on. The results speak for themselves. 94 pounds in 6.5 months. If you need to lose weight like I did, or 10, 20, 30 pounds, trust me, Awaken 180 is your answer. Go to their website, awaken180weightloss.com.
Visionaries, builders, and doers, are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand-new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Homeowners, good news for you. Accent on 4. Listen up. Loan Pronto now has mortgage rates that start with a 4. Prosser here. It's true. Mortgage rates have plummeted. So low, we haven't seen them in a long time. If your current rate is over 6%, you can dump it and lower your house payment big time. Loan Pronto just locked in a homeowner at 4.99% APR. So whether you got your loan last week, last month, or last year, it's time to call Loan Pronto. Even if you're in process with another lender, stop now. Call Loan Pronto. Ask about their zero-cost rate reduction home loan. You can lock in a lower rate with no closing costs in a matter of days, with almost no paperwork and usually no appraisal. And if you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call now. Loan Pronto can give you a rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Call 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Owner approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The countdown to kickoff is on, and we want to put a little pep in your step with Spirit Week, presented by UF Health. Leading up to our home opener against the Cleveland Browns, keep your eyes and ears open for cool ways to win big. Local partner offers, free tickets, and more could be yours this week only. For more information, go to jaguars.com/sweepstakes. And don't forget to lock in your tickets for the home opener by going to jaguars.com/tickets.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's contestant, a dust bunny breeder from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Steve Johnson.
Welcome to the show, Steve. It's great to be here, Alex.
Yeah, you don't have to answer in the form of a question, Steve.
What is this game show?
See, that's another question.
Are you going to ask me about air conditioners?
Yeah, okay. How about we just send the Bueller guys over and you can annoy them with all your questions? Johnny?
That's right, Steve. Bueller Air and Plumbing can answer all your air conditioning questions, repair options, replacement models, and how to make your AC last longer while saving electricity, making sure you are cool.
Where is the parking lot?
You're killing me, Steve.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
It's the best time of the year again. It's football season, and with football season here, fantasy football has arrived. And forget the season-long leagues. Underdog Fantasy and the Underdog Fantasy app is the way to go. I've been playing it now for almost a year, and it is just suits me to a T. First of all, it's simple, right? Just choose higher or lower on statistical projections or compete against others in player-v-player fantasy games. Either way, there's so many options. There's research there on the site. It's easy to use, and right now, you can get a little bit extra. That's right. Go to the mobile app or underdogfantasy.com. Sign up with the promo code PROSSER. They're going to give you a special to use on your first contest and a deposit offer. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code PROSSER, and claim your new customer offer. Do it right now, plus a first-time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Got to be 18 or over, got to be present in the state where it's played, and call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org if you have a problem.
Spend lunchtime with the ladies.
Hey, where's your sense of adventure?
They don't cook, but they serve up spicy sports talk.
Sure, it's on the menu.
Helmets and heels.
That is a meal.
Switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans on 1010XL.
Hello, Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. From GFL, Green for Life.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Glad you're with us. 1010XL 92.5 FM. Tuesday night into Wednesday. Jaguars back on the practice field tomorrow to get ready for week 2. Isn't that interesting, right? The season did not end on Sunday in Miami. The sky is no longer falling. That was one game. There are 16 games left. And the first of those 16 is Sunday at 1 o'clock when the Cleveland Browns roll in here to Everbank Stadium for the home opener. Important game for the Jaguars, no doubt. With road games coming up at Buffalo on Monday night and at Houston, this is the only home game in the month of September. Needless to say, this is a home game the Jaguars need to win. I'll be very curious tomorrow. I'll be down at the Miller Electric Center inside the Jaguar locker room. I'll bring you some Jaguar locker room talk both tomorrow night and Thursday night here on Hacker After Dark. Looking forward to catching up with some of the guys and kind of just gauging where they are after last week, heading into the home opener. You know, something we briefly discussed last night, they need to play better at home. Last year, the home games were awful. I mean, were just awful. Think about that San Francisco game, just getting blown out at home. Losing to Jake Browning and the Cincinnati Bengals. Losing to Kansas City at home, losing to Baltimore at home, losing to Houston at home to a rookie quarterback, at that point a rookie quarterback in C.J. Stroud, and giving up an 87-yard kickoff return for a touchdown by a 260-pound fullback. Remember that? They were not good at Everbank Stadium last year. That needs to change beginning on Sunday. This schedule's hard enough as is. You play 10 games outside of Jacksonville, now 9 after the Miami game is in the books. You still have 9 games outside of Jacksonville, only 7 in the friendly confines. You need to win your home games. Something the Jaguars did not do last year, something they need to do this year. Cleveland comes in. Cleveland's coming off just a shellacking. They got crushed by Dallas, and Cleveland has injury concerns. David Njoku looks like he won't play. And then not so much the names, but it's basically the equivalent of Jacksonville being without, say, Chad Muma, Ventrell Miller, and Roy Robertson Harris. Cleveland's 3rd and 4th linebacker and one of their rotation defensive tackles look like they're all going to miss the game as well. Jacksonville, even without Tyson Campbell, comes in a lot healthier than Cleveland for what is a September version of a must-win for the Jaguars on Sunday at 1 o'clock. More Jaguar talk coming up at the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour. Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4 will stop by to put the final touches on Miami, but certainly look ahead to Cleveland coming in here on Sunday. 1 hour down, 1 hour to go, Jacksonville. We'll take you up till 10 o'clock tonight, as we do each and every night, right here on Hacker After Dark, 9 o'clock hour. A lot of college talk, a little high school talk, and some Jaguar talk. All coming at you next. 1010XL, 92.5 FM. It's Hacker After Dark.
In every game, there's a limited number of drives.
On best, here we go.
And there's only one drive of the game.
That's a good old-fashioned rear-end whipping.
Listen for the Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville drive of the game on 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Hey, everyone. It's football season.
season, and we wanted to go to the drawing board to make this year's predictions. Let's compare our two blonde all-stars. Most touchdowns, best pricing in the market. Most passing yards, gives the most for your trade. Most receptions, free oil changes with every purchase. Super Bowl champion, wow customer service. This looks like a winning season for everyone. Come see Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville, where you can score big all season long.
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician, Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Establishing a regular sleeping pattern is crucial for your well-being. This includes going to bed at roughly the same time every night and waking up around the same time every morning. You may even consider turning off all electronic devices an hour before bedtime. Ever wonder why you can't fall asleep after staring at your phone right before bed? Studies show that the light from your phone actually decreases melatonin production, therefore causing disruptions to your sleep throughout the night. Get some rest before the big game. Go Jags.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Florida homeowners are going to extreme lengths to stay cool this summer.
We sit in front of the refrigerator with the door open and only eat frozen foods while they're still frozen and put ice cubes down our pants. Whoa, that's cold.
But the most popular and cost-effective way can be summed up by a quack. Just call Duck Air Conditioning. For AC repairs to new installations, you too can beat the Florida heat with Duck Air Conditioning. Jacksonville area's AC experts. Trust the Duck to keep your cooling costs low. DuckDuckAC.com.
Get Gators play-by-play on 1010XL. Brought to you by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Renewal by Anderson, custom windows and doors. Proud partner of the Florida Gators.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Multi-unit hair grafting is now available at IHRS and can give you 3 times more hair in one procedure over a traditional hair transplant.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
You can grow your hair back with this exclusive new procedure. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-IHRS 777-4477.
Come to Lifetime Flooring this Thursday from noon to 2 to see the XL Primetime Show live. Get your name in the bucket for a chance to win tickets to Nathaniel Ratliff at Daly's Place September 16th. This Thursday from noon to 2 at Lifetime Flooring on Phillips Highway.
Hey, Hicken here. I want to talk skin along with my friends at Peaches Dermatology, reminding you to wear your sunscreen. Football season is back, baby. And with that, days under that bright sun. So when you load up that truck for the game day tailgate, or the chairs for your kids' flag games, or even the boat heading downtown to watch our Jags, make sure you bring the screen. Sunscreen, that is. It's a must here in Duval. But if you have any concerns right now, give Peaches Dermatology a call online at peachesdermatology.com.
The experts at AMCO have been fixing cars for almost 60 years. Over that time, they've gotten more complex than ever. That's why our techs undergo rigorous training and certifications, so they can fix anything, including the most complicated repairs that come with some of the latest technologies. After 60 years, there's nothing we haven't seen or fixed. It's how we know cars inside and out.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at AMCOJacksonville.com.
What defines a hero? Dedication, loyalty, courage. Every day at AMCO, we serve heroes. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. From complex transmissions to simple brake jobs with flexible financing and the extra safety precautions we need. The heroes we serve don't all wear uniforms. They're people like you. At AMCO, we're proud to serve all of you. AA MCO.
Family owned and operated in Jacksonville, Orange Park, St. Augustine, and St. Mary's, Georgia.
Hello there. Brendan from Play It Again Sports here to congratulate all the parents for surviving another summer. The kiddos are back to school, and you know what that means? Sports are back. But don't fret, Play It Again Sports has the gear you need at prices worthy of excessive celebration. From sluggers and shooters to clappers and benders, Play It Again Sports can turn your kids into goats. Stop in today on Merrill Road near 295 or online at playitagainjacks.com.
The average cost associated with childhood cancer is a startling $833,000. This is Tom Coughlin, and September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Help the J Fund raise awareness to help our neighbors and community members tackling this devastating disease. Visit tcjfund.org/September for more information.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now, the Seminole Point of View with Rick Ballou. Brought to you by Vaughn Motor Group on San Jose Boulevard. Dream it, drive it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Florida State, Memphis, Saturday, high noon over in Tallahassee. Florida State looking to get their first win of the year and get their season back on track, playing what might be the best group of 5 team in college football. Should be pretty interesting on Saturday afternoon. Rick Ballou, of course, you hear him into the night every night here on 1010XL from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. And we always love talking Seminole football with the Truth Teller. Rick, how you doing, man?
Hacker, great to see you again, buddy. Everything is fantastic. Looking forward to this week. It's been an interesting one, both in the NFL and college football, and the Noles looking to get a victory for the first time Saturday at noon.
Rick, I've asked you a lot of questions in the years and years that I've known you. I might ask you the most simplest one now that I've ever asked. What has happened in the first 2 games to your Florida State Seminoles?
Wow, we could be on here till midnight. I mean, it's a litany of really a litany of different things, but I think right now leadership is lacking. It worked a year ago, and it worked the last couple of years with transfer portal guys who did come in, but there was also still a pretty decent nucleus of players. And we do forget that Jordan Travis actually was a transfer from Louisville, but he had been well entrenched, and he came aboard before the so-called, transfer portal and what we're living in now. But he became a huge leader, a vocal leader, a leader by example, and a guy that others could, certainly look at and, reflect themselves towards him. Right now, that's lacking. Even though a quarterback in DJ Uiagalelei has 42 career starts, it just feels like to me, and the best example, I believe we talked about it last week, is, it's 21-13, and all of a sudden, Florida State's back into the game against BC. They got some momentum. And you have arguably the best kicker in the country. He kicks out of the end zone. And you get Brian Turner, who's a role player. He had 7 snaps against BC, and he blows up a kick return guy. So instead of BC getting it at the 25, you add 15 yards. They start from the 40. They go 5 plays, and they score, and it breaks the back of the football team. And Mike Norvell shoot him out on the sideline. But, I was talking to Niall Lawrence Stample, who I have on quite a bit, who played at Florida State and won a national title for them in 2013. And he made a really interesting point. He said there's things in football where it can only be coached by players. And when you make a mistake like that, you can have any coach say something, but that's not going to register. You need a leader on your team that is going to get in the face of your teammate, almost Tom Brady-like, if you will, to not let them do that again and tell them how much it really hurts the team. It ends up being a very selfish part. So, yeah, they're not physical. Yeah, they're not making big plays. But right now, I think the biggest problem in Tallahassee is the lack of alphas, the lack of a true leader.
Rick Ballou here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Rick, do you feel the criticism towards DJU at the quarterback position is warranted?
I do. There was 7 drops against BC. Think about that. It was like I saw a graphic. It was like one of the most that we've had in the NCAA in the last, I think it was 7 to 10 years. I mean, 7 drops, 3 by Kyle Morlock. I don't think he had 3 drops the entire 2023 season. He has not been good. He is statuesque. There's no movement there. And the offensive line has been, somewhat of a disappointment after I really figured that this had an opportunity to be the best one they've had over there in almost a decade. Sure, he is worthy of blame. The one thing that I think disappoints Florida State fans is there's very little emotion out of DJ Uiagalelei. It's almost like a baseball player. I mean, I'll reference another FSU Seminole, J.D. Drew. When you watched his mannerisms, man, that guy, I remember, hit a grand slam in the World Series for the Boston Red Sox. He just ran around the bases. Well, J.D. Drew could come up an inning later and strike out with the bases loaded. And when you watched him come back to the dugout, you couldn't tell if he hit a grand slam or he struck out. He was very professional, very mild-mannered, and you see that in baseball. Football's a totally different sport. Man, there's got to be some emotion, and he almost looks like a mime when you see the way that he acts on the sideline, almost as if he doesn't want to be there, that this has become work for him and not a game. I still am more in support of DJU than I am against him. But yeah, it's a bad look. It doesn't feel like there are people rallying around him, and that, again, the lack of leadership that he has there as a transfer quarterback, it's been pretty glaring the first couple of weeks here of the season.
I mean, clearly the quarterback's going to get all the blame or the credit, so a lot of focus on DJU. But Rick, I got to tell you, talking to people over in Tallahassee before the year started, and just quite frankly, my own personal opinion, you look at that front seven for Florida State, particularly the defensive line coming into the year, and you're thinking, my goodness, Marvin Jones Jr., Patrick Payton, Jackson, Farmer, all these guys that are going to be in the NFL one day, and then they have started the year, and it's just like, man, what is going on? They can't stop the run. Georgia Tech and Boston College. I mean, Boston College, I think, had 270 yards rushing on these guys their last time out. Can you put your finger on it as to why the front of that Florida State defense has been as vulnerable as it has been?
Well, this is far bigger of a problem than DJU in the offense. This was supposed to be incredible, and you pointed it out. All four of those guys are going to the NFL. Their stock is falling, okay? The tape doesn't lie. There's been lack of effort. There's been lack of skill. I look at Patrick Payton, man, it feels like he should not be out there against the run. I mean, he's I don't want to call him a unique Ngakoue, but it appears that he's a pass rush guy only. He's not setting the edge the way that Jared Verse did one season ago. I will make the point that behind them at linebacker, this is the worst group I have ever seen at Florida State. These linebackers are not good, and it is the worst position group by far that this organization does have. And also there's some ignorance involved. You pointed it out. BC went for 263 last week on either 52 or 53 carries. And Adam Fuller remained in a 4-2-5 defense. Or, when you're in a situation like that, why still have two safeties way back and a buck? Why have five defensive backs when you know they're running the ball? How about a fifth defensive lineman? How about a third linebacker? But no, they believe they have the best defensive system in football. They're going to keep it there, even though it became a totally one-sided attack by BC where it came to rushing the football. I'm really surprised by Joshua Farmer and Darrell Jackson Jr. I thought those two would eat up everything in the interior defensive line, but they have both really struggled. We never saw Jackson a year ago because of his waiver. It was not granted by the NCAA, so he got a ton of preseason hype, including myself. Farmer a year ago just came in and took snaps away from Lovett. I mean, he became a huge part of that defense right next to Braden Fisk. So, the criticism is on offense, but it's been the defensive line, in my opinion, that has been the biggest shock to Florida State in their early struggles.
Final moments with Rick Ballou. You get him every night, end of the night here on 1010XL from 6 o'clock until 8 o'clock. All right, Rick, let's look ahead to Saturday, high noon, Tallahassee. Memphis rolls in. Now, here's the interesting thing to me about this game. All eyes point to Florida State getting back on the winning track, and I'm probably going to pick Florida State to win the game. But Memphis, with the way the college football playoff is set up, is probably looking at this as their Super Bowl. If Memphis wants a shot to be the highest-rated Group of 5 team, boy, a win in Tallahassee over Florida State would do an awful lot for that resume. This is a gigantic game for Memphis. They're going to put a lot into this with the way the playoff is set up. What's your thought on Saturday between Memphis and Florida State?
Yeah, and they're a real tricky defense. They really are. They move guys around all the time. I've been doing some reading this week on Memphis. I mean, they're a 3-3-5 defense. They also play some 4-3 and just go to a base in the secondary. But they move guys around an awful lot. And this is a good football team. They're not intimidated. They've put up, I want to say, 40 points in their first 2 games. They really like their quarterback, and they have some pretty talented skill position guys. But you nailed it. For Florida State, I mean, it's a hangover. And it's, here we go. You've had an extra week to think about it. You hope they would come out motivated and say to themselves, all right, let's try to flip this switch and get a little something going with a couple of home games here in a row in the month of September. But it does. Even though Florida State's lost 2 straight, this is still Florida State. And from Memphis, this is the game that they have had circled since the schedule came out. So they know if they go ahead and win this game, it's all there for them. And, you know, it's almost foolish, in my opinion, to say this game means more to Memphis than it does to Florida State, considering Memphis is 2-0 and Florida State is 0-2. But in the way things are, it is, because if Memphis wins this game, they could end up being that team when it's all said and done. So, you know, I've seen the line move around a little bit, 5.5, 6. I've seen a couple of 7s. And, you know, here we are talking on this Tuesday. It'll be interesting to see what happens the rest of the week. And, you know, we'll get hopefully a better understanding with some injuries. It was announced on Monday that Jalen Lucas, their punt and kick return man, is gone for the remainder of the year for Florida State. But, you know, when I looked at the schedule, I looked at a lot of games for the Noles. This was not one that really grabbed me. Well, it does now as we move closer to game time on Saturday.
Rick, final question. We got about 60 seconds. You know, it's interesting that Mike Norvell got that huge contract extension, all the love that Mike Norvell had after all the disdain Seminole fans had for him the first couple of years. And now you're starting to see things of Norvell's record when Jordan Travis isn't his quarterback, things along those lines. And if they were to go out there and lose on Saturday, I'm not saying Norvell's going to be fired. Obviously, he's not. But, man, there will be some unrest among Seminole Nation, right, at 0-3 if that really happens on Saturday?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's unrest right now. And, you know, I got a lot of buddies here in town, and I'm on a couple of different Florida State threads. And put it this way, there are tickets available. There are hotel rooms available. And we all know how fans are. I mean, you win, they want to be a part of it. You start losing, especially when it's been losses to 2 opponents in which you were a double-digit favorite over. People are like, I got better things to do with my money. I got better things to do with my time. So business-wise, oh, my God, this is huge. This is huge for Florida State business-wise. They got to get this thing rolling. And, again, they got a home game next week. So, yeah, I'm spot on with you. If they lay an egg and Memphis goes into Tallahassee and wins this ball game, I mean, this year for Florida State is going to seem like 5 years, and all that pressure right now is on head coach Mike Norvell. So, yeah, again, I never thought it would be this big of a deal, but my goodness, Saturday at noon, all of a sudden this becomes a very important game for Florida State.
Memphis, Florida State, Saturday noon at Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee. You get Rick Ballou every night. He goes into the night from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock right here on 1010XL. Rick, always enjoy the conversation, brother. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Talk to you then.
The big stories from the weekend's big games.
They're fans of football.
That's what Postgame Monday is for.
What a game. Amazing.
Brought to you by Dandy Foods, makers of quality fresh sandwiches and home of the good stuff on 1010XL.
Ballou here for Smoonez Vision. Why Smoonez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smoonez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smoonez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smoonez is fellowship-trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmoonezVision.com today. Care you can see.
Hi, everybody. Mike Dempsey here. Look, most goals we set for ourselves have a pretty clear course. I want a trip to Las Vegas. So you read a couple of reviews, talk to a few friends, save up some money, and you book it. Maybe a couple of choices along the way, but overall, it's a clear course to reach your goal. Now, if your goal is to lose 40 or 50 pounds, where's the clear path? You read reviews, talk with a few friends, and try something out. When it doesn't work, you're disappointed. Look, we've all been there, and it stinks. Know what I say? Stop trying to do what I did and start doing. Reach your goal with Awaken 180. It's a clear course to success without the disappointment. No guesswork, no trial and error, and no medication side effects. I'm proof. I dropped 26 pounds my first go at it, and it was simple. A word never associated with weight loss, except when referring to Awaken 180. Choose the simple, clear course to success with the solution for weight loss. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Make the move to ABS, Advanced Business Solutions, and you won't hear your employees complain about the copier anymore. Instead, you'll hear this. Advanced Business Solutions, your local Xerox dealer.
Mortgage rates have plummeted, and Loan Pronto clients are locking in the lowest rates we've seen in years. Hey, it's Roger Moore, founder and CEO of Loan Pronto. It's happening. We are finally locking APRs in the 5s, something we haven't seen for a long time. If that sky-high rate is killing you or you need to get cash out of your home equity, now is the time to take action. Or listen, even if you want to keep that first mortgage rate intact, you can take advantage of lower rates with our Equity Express line of credit. We're seeing homeowners take 50, 75, 200 grand or more out of their equity and wiping out that high-interest debt with an average savings of $850 per month. Bottom line, your home value is way up and mortgage rates have come way down, making this a great time to act. Call today for a 30-second rate quote. Do it now, and you can even skip your next 2 mortgage payments. 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com. 904-999-1508.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org.
Tony Baselli gets up early Monday morning to share a big football breakfast with you.
Some French toast and sausage patties.
Hall of Fame Monday, 7:20 with Dan and Jeff on the Drill. Brought to you by Heritage Roofing of North Florida on 1010XL.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Truck drivers can be pushed to the brink of exhaustion. Determining the reasons for fatigue are vital in proving who's at fault in your case. Put our big truck experience to work for you. Call Farah and Farah, Jacksonville.
It's the best time of the year again. It's football season, and with football season here, fantasy football has arrived. And forget the season-long leagues. Underdog Fantasy and the Underdog Fantasy app is the way to go. I've been playing it now for almost a year, and it is just suits me to a T. First of all, it's simple, right? Just choose higher or lower on statistical projections or compete against others in player v player fantasy games. Either way, there's so many options. There's research there on the site. It's easy to use, and right now, you can get a little bit extra. That's right. Go to the mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with the promo code PROSSER. They're going to give you a special to use on your first contest and a deposit offer. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code PROSSER, and claim your new customer offer. Do it right now, plus a first-time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Got to be 18 or over, got to be present in the state where it's played, and call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org if you have a problem.
Here's your 1010XL community calendar of local events and nonprofit groups helping people here at home.
It's poker with a purpose. The Hold'em for Life Texas Hold'em Tournament at Blessed Trinity Parish Hall benefits the Women's Help Center with a focus on expectant mothers and newborns. If you'd like to play or sponsor, call 904-868-8873.
Help make Jacksonville safer and play a round of golf at the First Coast Crime Stoppers Golf Tournament, October October 21st at Amelia River Club.
If you're a dog lover who wants to help animals, our furry friends need exercise and time out of their kennels. You can make a difference in a dog's life at volunteer@jackshumane.org.
The Hometown for Heroes Home Buyers Program helps you get your down payment and closing costs paid. Call to learn more. 574-7180.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. The Friday Night Lights are approaching very quickly this week. There are a lot of really good games on the schedule. There's not one that's probably better than Rains and Daytona Beach Mainland. It is going to be a terrific battle. Rains at 3-0 on the year, and of course Daytona Beach Mainland coming off a state championship in 2023. Let's talk to the head coach of the Rains Vikings, Donovan Maslin, always kind enough to join us here on Hacker After Dark. Coach, how we doing?
Hey, we're doing pretty good, buddy. Good to hear from you.
Coach, thank you for the time as always. 3-0, including victories over Bowles and Trinity Christian. I mean, that's not light work in the first part of your schedule, Coach. You must be very pleased with how you guys have performed so far.
Yes, sir. Overall, to come out with 3 wins, in the first 3 weeks is definitely something to be, happy about. But, we're not content. We're not satisfied. We know there's some room for improvement, and we're working, week in and week out to get 1% better and to see where we can, gain a little advantage in different areas for our guys. And, it's just good for the kids to, be able to come out on the winning side of these ball games.
You and I have talked under the Friday Night Lights after that win over Bowles, but we haven't spoken during the week about that game. So for the benefit of our audience tonight, a win like that, opening night, to beat Bowles in the fashion that you did, what kind of confidence did that give you guys moving forward?
It gives you a lot of confidence. A win, regardless of what team you're playing, a win would definitely boost your confidence, moving forward throughout the season. But, that was one game that we were excited about all summer, all spring, once we finalized getting the game on the schedule. So the kids and the coaching staff was excited for the moment, the opportunity. And we took advantage of it. And, we did some great things, in the run game, some things in the passing game. And our defense, they stepped up big in the second half. And it was just an overall good experience. It was a great atmosphere on both sides. And, those are the type games that, kids want to be a part of, to show their true talents to the city and also to the nation that, we do have great talent here in Jacksonville. And, they showed it that Friday night.
The head coach of the Rains Vikings, Donovan Maslin, here with us on 1010XL. Coach, you've had a lot of good players in your time at Rains High School. Solomon Thomas. Just talk about that young man, what he means to your program, and the type of person that he is.
He's a homegrown kid, and, he's showing that, if you work hard and you dedicate your time to getting better, individually, mentally, physically, spiritually, and just buying into what the program is asking you to do. And, he's reaping the benefits of it right now. And, a lot of people don't see the amount of work and amount of time he spent at school just to have a slight edge over his opponents. He don't leave the school sometimes at 8 o'clock at night, staying in the weight room, getting on the board with the offensive line coach to kind of see what it is. What can he do to get better? And, it's a new position for him right now, playing the guard position. So he's showing that, being able to adapt on the fly. And that really, the kids are really, looking at that, and they really understand that, hey, he's all in. It matters not, the position is what can I do to help the team get better. And he's showing that he's leading by example and vocally.
He's one of the highest-rated offensive linemen in the country. He's already committed to Florida State. Final moments, Donovan Maslin, the head coach of Rains. Coach, you schedule tough opponents at Rains High School. It's what you've done year in and year out. and you got one coming to the graveyard on Friday night. It's the rematch. You guys went to Daytona last year. You guys get them in the graveyard this year. What went into the thinking about scheduling Mainland, and how excited are you guys for that opportunity?
Where we were at a coaching clinic last spring, and Coach T-Row, he was at the coaching clinic, and we were looking for a game, and they were looking for a game, and what better way to get yourself ready to play a talented team and a talented program in Daytona Beach Mainland. They're a well-coached team, and we want to go down there and compete against those guys. On a 2-year cycle, so this is the second year. We came up on the losing end last year, so we're locked in on the mistakes that we made, how we came out and played early in that game. So we're excited for Friday. We know it's going to be an electric game. It's going to be an electric atmosphere. It's going to, the Viking Nation will be there to support, and we're excited. The kids are locked in about what it is that they need to do in order to come out on the winning side of it. And, we've circled this game since last year because we know we're a much better team than what we showed last year in that game. And we're going to show it Friday.
As we wrap up, I told Matthew Toplin this the week that you guys played bowls. I told Braddock and Toplin this last week, St. Aug Bowls. Unfortunately, that game was rained out. This is a game, it's another one. You don't need to play Mainland. They don't need to play Rains, but it's a game that's great for the Friday Night Lights. It's a game that's great for the high school football community. So I commend you and your staff, and quite frankly, commend Mainland and their staff for playing a game that is going to be hard on both sides, but it's great for the high school game.
Definitely, it's great for just high school football, period. This is why we coach. This is why the kids play the game, to play some of the best talent that we could possibly play. Week in and week out. It's a challenge for coaches to, what can we do as coaches to give the winning edge or have the winning edge? And, it's a challenge to get our players ready to play games like this. And, if you want to be one of the best teams, considered one of the best teams in the area or in the state, you have to play the teams that, that have done it. Mainland has went and won the state championship last year. We commend them. I text, Coach T-Row after the game, after they won, just to commend them on a heck of a season. And, we're striving for that. So, we want to play a team that's compete for a state title so that, our kids see what it's like, what does a team look like that played in that won a state title? What are they doing that we can, kind of take some things from and make it our own and go on and try to do it ourselves. So, it's great competition on both sides, and it's only going to bring out the best coaching and the best play in our players. And, that's what we need, because it's like we say in the state of Florida, man, we got schools and talent across the state, and we're going to continue to do that.
Coach, invite them out Friday night. Should be some atmosphere.
Yes, definitely come out to 3663 Rains Avenue and come out and check the Vikings in Mainland. We welcome them with open arms, and it's going to be an exciting, fun night full of competition and just a great ball game and a great Friday night atmosphere.
Daytona Beach Mainland, Rains Vikings, the graveyard on a Friday night. That's going to be awesome. Donovan Maslin, the head coach of Rains High School. Coach, best of luck on Friday. We hope we're talking to you under the Friday night lights.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it.
Who brought the house to their feet?
Listen to this place.
Universal Roofing Contracting presents the Offensive Player of the Game.
Wide open and just what they needed.
Experience the universal difference on 1010XL.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss. Back on February the 20th, I weighed 317 pounds. Yeah, 317 pounds. I woke up this morning at 225 pounds. 92 pounds down in just over 6 months. And it's all thanks to Awaken 180, the best weight loss program I've ever been on. It's life-changing. And I'm not understating that. It's life-changing. And quite frankly, it probably saved my life. Again, if it's time for you to lose weight like it was for me, whether it's 10, 20, 30 pounds, or whether it's a ton of weight like I had to lose, take it from a guy who's lost 90 pounds on this program. Awaken 180 works. Go to awaken180weightloss.com. That company, that program, they're changing lives. I'm one of them. You could be the next. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Baloo for Shinatri Chiropractic. They've helped me get rid of my headaches and pain in my neck and back. Are you suffering from an auto accident? What about TMJ pain? Headaches associated with jaw clenching, grinding of the teeth, or stress-related disorders? Shinatri Chiropractic has a physical therapist on staff for rehabilitation, quality chiropractic care, dry needling, massage, and acupuncture. Call 743-6700 or go to ShinatriDC.com.
Jaguars football is officially back. Be there for the Jaguars 2024 home opener when they go head-to-head with the Cleveland Browns. Join us as we celebrate Hispanic heritage and take the field at Everbank Stadium for the first time during our 30th season. Lock in your seats now for the 1 p.m. kick by going to Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We can't wait to see you back at the bank.
I'm Jeff Middlecoff with Trustline Mortgage. My business partners, Alan Tyre, Bill Pappas, and Ken Rimley, have been helping first-time home buyers with their mortgage financing all over Florida for 34 years. First-time home buyers can get no or low down payments, anywhere from 0 to 3.5% down. As a first-time home buyer with Trustline Mortgage, you get added benefits for doing your loan with us, like lower rates on your mortgage insurance and lower closing costs. Oh, and did I forget to mention that Trustline gives first-time home buyers better mortgage interest rates? Here's the bottom line. Trustline Mortgage wants to help first-time home buyers accomplish your goal of home ownership. That's why Trustline Mortgage is offering the best first-time home buyer benefits around, period. Trustline Mortgage delivers with no and low down payments, lower closing costs, and better interest rates. Call Trustline Mortgage today at 381-LOAN. Yes, 381-LOAN to find out how we can help you buy your dream home. Or visit our website at TrustlineMortgage.com. Trust your instincts and follow the line to Trustline Mortgage.
Certain restrictions apply. See office for details. Trustline is an equal housing opportunity. MLS number 331480.
Stay in touch with the stars of Coral Gables.
From South Beach to Jacks Beach, stay on A1A for the latest from Miami on the Hurricane Report.
Brought to you by Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
On 1010XL.
Are your toilets flushing slow? Shower drain starting to back up? Bad smells? These are all major signs that your septic tank needs to be pumped out. Call Duck Rooter to schedule today. The EPA recommends you get your septic tank pumped out every 3 years. Call now if it's due. 904-862-6769. Duck Rooter is Northeast Florida's only master septic contractor that is fully insured. See our Google reviews. Visit duckrooter.com. 904-862-6769.
Don't bet the National Football League this season without your VSiN NFL betting guide. Betting previews for all 32 teams, betting trends, VSiN's exclusive in-depth win total projections, and a guide on how to use betting splits to bet and win. Download your free copy of the guide right now, featuring a betting preview of your Jacksonville Jaguars. 1010XL.com. That's 1010XL.com.
Thinning or balding hair? Introducing Scalp Micropigmentation now at IHRS. SMP is a procedure for men and women, looks like your own growing hair, and corrects thinning areas. SMP is perfect for men and women who shave their head and want a full head of hair look. Call IHRS now, 904-777-IHRS, 904-777-4477, or visit hairforme.com today.
Come to Lifetime Flooring this Thursday from noon to 2 to see the XL Primetime Show live. Get your name in the bucket for a chance to win tickets to Nathaniel Ratliff at Daly's Place September 16th. This Thursday from noon to 2 at Lifetime Flooring on Phillips Highway.
What makes a Honda certified pre-owned vehicle so special? 182-point inspection, 24/7 roadside assistance, first-year free oil changes, and a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty for carefree driving backed by American Honda. Visit your local Honda dealer today.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web, precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Browns, Sunday, 1 o'clock, the home opener at Everbank Stadium. Of course, you'll hear it right here on 1010XL. Both teams desperately looking to avoid an 0-2 start. Let's look back on Sunday in Miami, and let's start looking ahead now to Cleveland coming up here on Sunday afternoon. Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4 does a terrific job covering the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he's always kind enough to join us on Hacker After Dark. Jamal, how we doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. I appreciate you having me on, Hacker.
Hey, Jamal, I know you're busy. Always appreciate the time. All right, we're well past the 24-hour rule now. We've digested what happened in those final 18 minutes in Miami. Just your overall thoughts on how we got to this point, staring 0-2 in the face.
Well, you know what? Look, I don't think they're going to go 0-2. I'll start there. Let's start with the positive. I do think they'll beat the Browns. Like, realistically, I picked against the Jaguars this week. I didn't think they were going to beat the Dolphins. So I think the reason I think a lot of people didn't think they were going to win that game. But it's the way they lost that stings the most, is because it felt like they were in the control. They were getting ready to take this thing and lock it up, and then boom, one fumble, it gets out of hand, and next thing you know, they're taking home a loss. Look, it's bad. It's bad, and there are things that reared their ugly head in the second half that we saw last season. Short yardage running problems, offensive line issues. I mean, these are real. The one positive, maybe not the one positive, but the biggest positive that I took away from Sunday's game is, Hacker, if I told you on Saturday the Jaguars hold the Dolphins to 20 points, you'd probably tell me the Jaguars won that game. The Jaguars defense did a good job. They did everything they could do. The offense is what let everybody down.
You know, we've been plenty negative after the game, right? I've gotten a lot of negativity off my chest. So I'm trying to spin it forward to Cleveland, trying to be more positive. And the one thing I think it was Monday morning, when I woke up Monday morning, I kind of had this revelation. Evan Ingram had 1 catch for 5 yards. Kirk had 2 drops. ETN had an unbelievable fumble. He gave up an 80-yard touchdown. Anton Harrison might have had his worst game in the NFL. Cam Robinson wasn't much better. You go for it inexcusably on 4th down and from your own 30 and call a mind-boggling play that doesn't work. You had all that stuff, all the crap that happened, and it still took a 53-yard field goal to beat you. And maybe I'm just trying to be glass half full guy here, Jamal, but that's the way I'm looking at it right now.
Look, I think there were positives. Like I said, I think the Jaguars defense played a good game. I think Trayvon Walker walked out with 2 sacks, which, I mean, that's not something that happens. The effort there was there. I think the defense, to me, is the bright light. You mentioned a lot of the bad things, and they still never trailed until there were zeros on the clock. Yeah, but like I think there were a lot of good things that you say, okay, as long as we see more of those, if this defense can hold what was the NFL's best offense last year, when they were at full health yesterday, full health. They held them to 20 points. That's damn good. That's really good. And I mean, we had high expectations for Ryan Nielsen in this defense, but realistically, at best, I said, if the Jaguars are going to roll out, it's a shootout. The offense has to figure out a way to outduel the Dolphins. It didn't turn into that. Like, I am impressed by the defense and what they were able to do. I mean, at some point Tyreek Hill's going to get his. It just happened to be at the wrong time. But the Jaguars did a good job of limiting him. I mean, Tyson Campbell left with an injury, and there wasn't this huge, oh no moment where there was a target on the back. I mean, it was just part of that momentum swing. So overall, I walked away impressed by the defense. I think the offense definitely has some issues. The most concerning of which, to me, is the continued issue on short yardage. I mean, that 3rd and 1 play where you got a guard laying on his back 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage, you could have had Walter Payton in the backfield. He ain't picking that up. You can't blame anybody but the offensive line in that situation. Then the 4th and 1 play where, I mean, my goodness, Travis Etienne had no chance. No chance. I mean, he did everything he could, reverse field to the complete opposite side, just looking for space.
Well, that's what happens when your left tackle blocks air instead of anybody wearing an opposing uniform.
That's what I was going to say. Maybe his best block on the play was from Trevor Lawrence when he reversed field. I mean, and that's saying a lot, There's something to be desired. I think our concerns were clearly warranted when we went into the season and said, what could hold this team back? And I think there are a lot of people pointing the finger at the offensive line and said, we're just not sure it's good enough. And then 1 week into the season, you play against the Dolphins team who's not exactly known for having a dominant defensive front. And everybody kind of walks away and says, we're still not sure if the offensive line is good enough, and that effort definitely wasn't.
Yeah, no, by the way, Myles Garrett comes to town on Sunday. Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4 here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Jamal, explain to me how Brian Thomas Jr. and Gabe Davis did what they did in the first half, and we barely heard from them in the second half. That's puzzling.
Man, look, they tried to get conservative. Look, and don't get me wrong, the Jaguars were moving the ball that way in the first half, and that first drive in the third quarter where they were rolling. They were slowly moving it down the field, weren't taking real shot plays. It was Tank Bigsby. It was a little bit of a dose of Travis Etienne here and there, some short plays. They were just moving it down patiently. So, don't get me twisted that they were being hyper aggressive in the first and then just stopped. But it's the fact that they stopped when they needed to get a spark. When you're spiraling like that, and it started spiraling quickly. The Travis Etienne touchdown, the Travis Etienne fumble, sorry. Then the Tyreek Hill touchdown. Then Parker Washington fumbles, and I mean, thank goodness he recovers it. Like in that moment, Doug's standing on the sideline, and he can see it because we could all see it. They're spiraling. And his job as the head coach is to figure out how to stop that spiral. And that is the hardest position to be in because that is the human element of this game because just like anything else, they're in a situation. I mean, working in TV, we've been in the middle of shows where stuff is spiraling and we're trying to figure out how to stop the snowball while it's going on. And it is a tough spot to be in. So his job is to do that. And to me, you got to put that ball in Trevor's hands and say, all right, somebody's got to go make a play. I'm paying Trevor. I'm paying Christian Kirk. We drafted Brian Thomas Jr. We brought in Gabe Davis. One of these guys got to go make a damn catch. That's what I'd have done. He went a different route with it, and that's okay. But at some point, you got to figure out how to stop that spiral. And, I mean, look, the patience didn't pay off this time. Even though it was kind of working earlier, the Dolphins just adjusted and shut it down.
Well, the crazy thing to me is the foundation of your offense outside of Trevor Lawrence, the absolute foundation we thought was Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, and Travis Etienne. And you could make a real argument that Tank Bigsby, Gabe Davis, and Brian Thomas Jr. were head and shoulders better than all three of those guys on Sunday. Now, here's the question, all right? Evan Ingram, he did dress out for the game. I mean, I saw him out there. 1 catch for 5 yards. Christian Kirk, I know he was critical of himself after the game, but come on, man. You're getting paid that money. You're out there. You one inexplicable drop. He got his hands on the other one. I mean, you got to catch that ball. And then the Etienne fumble, I mean, again, I don't think Kirk and Etienne in particular are going to have a worse game the rest of the year. And I don't know what they're going to do in the film room, but here's an idea. Maybe throw it to the guy who had 114 catches last year.
Look, I think there's something valid about that. Evan needs his targets, but I'm a fantasy football guy. I got like 6 or 7 teams this year, and there's one reason why I don't have a ton of Jaguars players. This offense is not predicated on forcing the ball to anybody repeatedly. That's not what they do. That's not what they're going to do. They're going to take what the defense gives them. They're going to take the matchups that show themselves, and they're going to try and get it to the guy that's open. That means there's going to be weeks where Evan Ingram has 1 catch. Where, I mean, if Christian Kirk catches those 2 other passes, his stat line looks very different. I mean, those were – he's Mr. Reliable, and he dropped 2 passes. I think you're right. I don't think he has another worse game than that this season. But, overall, they're just not going to – they're not that. I mean, we've seen this before. We've had this conversation with Doug, just last year about Calvin Ridley. Hey, you got injuries at receiver. You need a player. You going to try and get this guy more involved? Now we're going to take what it gives us. All right, plain and simple. That's what they're going to do. Who's open? Who has the matchup we like? That's where we're going. They're not just going to say, all right, it's 3rd down. We need a play. Go to Evan because he's that guy, and he's Mr. Reliable and trust him to make a play. That's just not how they're going to roll it. I agree with you that at times you need to go to the guys that you trust And I mean, Doug has said it before in situations where you get in those situations where you start thinking players, not plays. And I would love if he said he did that a little bit more often, because I think you have players. And if you look at the way the Dolphins run it, they start thinking players at times. But that's just not the way they want to be as an offense. They want to spread this thing out, take what the defense gives them. And early on, that was Gabe Davis and Brian Thomas Jr. And those were the two new pieces. And I think with all these mouths to feed, with Gabe, with Brian, with Evan, with Travis, with now Tank joining the party, I mean, there are a lot of guys that are going to catch passes this year. All of them can't have big weeks every week.
Couple more for Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4. I promise we'll get to Cleveland in one moment. You mentioned Tank Bigsby. Dave Campo earlier this week on Hacker After Dark said something really interesting. And Dave Campo's a guy that knows a little bit about the NFL, just a tad, right? Former head coach, coordinator, assistant. He's been around the game for decades. He likes both guys. This is not an anti-necessarily Travis Etienne sentiment, but he thinks that Tank Bigsby has better vision than Etienne. Hits the hole quicker, uses his blockers better. Etienne, maybe more accustomed, is a terrific third down guy out of the backfield, but he would like to see Bigsby more on first and second down more consistently. Was an interesting thought, and based on what Bigsby did against Miami, it's a thought that I find myself not being really able to disagree with. Bigsby was terrific. Do you think, Jamal, we should see more of Tank Bigsby?
I definitely think that he has earned some carries along the way. I think they're going to try and feed both of these guys. I don't know that they're at the point where they're going to start trying to get away from Travis and more overfeed Tank to some extent. Not yet. Travis is just so explosive. He's a guy that, one gap and he's 30 yards down the field. And that's something that, I mean, Tank's a very good running back, and I think we've seen it. We talked about him during preseason, and that was his best game as a pro by far. Miami is his best game so far as a pro. I do think he's going to be involved. Shucks, you saw they tried to give it to him on 3rd and 1. They tried. It just didn't work. So he's going to get opportunities in big situations. I think he's earned that. But I don't think they're going to get to the point where they just write off Travis to just being a third down back. I don't think they're going to do that.
I don't either, but the vision was the interesting thing that Campo said, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. I like both guys. I do like the fact that 51 offensive plays were called against Miami. I believe it was 26 runs compared to 25 drop-back passes. So there was a lot of consistency there. And when you use both Tank and Travis, you keep them both healthy. All right, Jamal, Cleveland comes in on Sunday. Let's begin with Tyson Campbell. It did not look good. His body language looked terrible when he walked over to the sideline. He had a hamstring last year. That was what it was again against Miami. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that a hamstring, the odds of him playing against Cleveland are probably not very good. What does that do to this Jaguar defense?
Well, it just changes things slightly. Without Tyson, obviously, you're without your top cornerback. So that means that Ronald Darby and Jarian Jones both play a bigger role. We saw Montarg Brown getting a lot more playing time after Tyson went down as well. So it changes things. It changes things a lot. But we'll see. We'll see how bad that hamstring pull is, how long he's going to end up being sidelined. I think they're going to have to take a wait-and-see approach with it. You hope that it doesn't linger as long as the one last year did. So I do think they're going to probably try and be a little bit more patient with him and not rush him back. So, yeah, I'd say it's probably not likely that he's going to be able to suit up this week. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. But I would guess that they're going to try and slow play this thing. And that means that we're going to see a heavy dose of Buster Brown and Jarian Jones. So
do you call up Trey Flowers? Is that the guy you call up from the practice squad, you think?
To call up just as depth or to start?
Well, no, not necessarily to start, but if you're going to be down a corner, I would think a guy. I mean, if you saw last week when Daniel Thomas missed time, they called up Terrell Edmonds at safety.
Yes.
You got a guy in Trey Flowers that knows Nielsen's system, is a veteran, has started like 6 playoff games in his career. You could do a lot worse than that. Do you think he's the guy that ultimately gets the call up to the active roster?
Yeah, probably. I mean, he's an outside corner. He comes in and gives them some depth on the outside. Very likely it's him, not Christian Braswell, who's the other corner that's on the on the practice squad. Yeah, I think Flowers would just get called up, but I think the guys that will get a heavy dose of are Jarian and Buster. They're trying to replace Tyson on the outside. And this isn't a Browns passing attack that's dynamic. I mean, it wasn't really that dynamic last year with Joe Flacco at the helm. And if there's any indication from what they showed in week 1 against the Cowboys, it's not dynamic with Deshaun Watson at the helm either. So this is a good week. This is probably one of the better weeks on the schedule to say, okay, Tyson, we can live without you for a Sunday and try and get you ready for Buffalo, which is a much tougher challenge.
Jamal, final question. At Buffalo, at Houston after this game. It's only week 2. I mean, we don't want to jump too far ahead, but knowing what's ahead on the schedule, is Sunday as close to a September must-win as there is?
Look, I don't think there's anything like must-win games this early in the season. I get it. Look, personally, here's where I'd put it as a must-win. I think they got to win games at the bank. Last year, they stunk at home. It was bad. I mean, that home record was abysmal. They have to protect the home field. Those are the games where you have your fans and where you're supposed to be able to get wins from the comfort of home. That's where I would put this game. I think they're going to win. I picked them. I didn't pick them to beat the Dolphins. I'm picking them to beat the Browns without a doubt. I think they're the better football team. I think they showed that they are a quality football team against the Dolphins. The Dolphins are a team that is really good, is going to be in the playoffs, and going to be in the hunt if injuries don't slow them down. So I think the Jaguars had them on the ropes. They just didn't finish the job. There's still something to be said. I know that this team's been together for a while and nobody wants to hear it, but when you do the numbers and go pull them up, the Jaguars are still one of the youngest teams in the NFL, and that's where youth shows up. They went and got those veteran guys like Eric Armstead, the Darnell Savages this offseason, and they don't like to hear, oh, we're a young football team anymore, and that's great. But the maturity shows when you can stop a slide like that one. That's where you can show that maturity. Don't let that let Travis Etienne's fumble be one play. Don't let it turn into an 80-yard touchdown. Don't let it turn into a fumble on the kickoff. Don't let it turn into we don't score any more points. Stop the slide. They never did. I think they'll get back on the right track this week at Cleveland, and then I think they'll have a tougher challenge the week after in Buffalo. I think they'll be 2-2 in short order, to be honest.
Jamal St. Cyr, Channel 4. I agree with you, by the way. I had Miami last week. I also have the Jaguars beating Cleveland this week. You get Jamal over the Channel 4 airwaves. Teal the show. Jamal, tell us about it.
Yep, and Teal Show's coming your way every Monday and Friday night over on Channel 4. We'll have Frank Frange in the building. We'll try and make sense of everything that's going on around the team and try and get you ready for kickoff. And on Sunday, hey, we're going to have a pretty fun tailgate over at the Slab setup. We'll be giving away some stuff, have a little fun over there. So if you're over at the Slab, come see us.
Jamal, I know you're busy. Thank you for the time. I'll see you in the locker room on Wednesday.
All right, see you, Hacker. Thanks, man.
Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
And thank you to Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4 for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. Is now Tuesday evening, almost in the books. We begin shifting our focus to the Cleveland Browns, who come in here on Sunday, 1 o'clock, Everbank Stadium, the home opener, a game you'll hear right here on 1010XL Radio. And a big game for both teams. Both teams at 0-1. You do not want to go 0-2, particularly in Jacksonville's situation, right? With road games looming at Buffalo and at Houston. It is a big, big game for the Jaguars coming up this Sunday. We certainly spent a lot of time talking about the Jaguars. We spent a lot of time talking college football tonight as well, both Florida State and the Florida Gators. Boy, you want to talk about a gigantic game. Billy Napier has a huge game coming up on Saturday. I said this in the offseason, and it was before the Miami outcome. Now, it's probably magnified because of the Miami outcome, but to me, A&M was always a vital game for Florida's season and for Billy Napier. And the reason why is, if nothing else, at least Mario Cristobal and Billy Napier are on the same timeline, right? They're both in year 3, and give Miami credit because they waxed the floor with Florida. Mike Elko, the head coach for Texas A&M, is in Game 3, as in this will be his third game as the A&M head coach. His first game on the road, his first SEC game as the Aggies head coach. And if he comes into Gainesville and leads his squad into Gainesville and they defeat Billy Napier and the Gators on Saturday, you want to talk about damning? You want to talk about an indictment, whatever verbiage you want to use? Good grief, man. The noise in the system will be anteed up in a big way. So it is just a gigantic game for Florida and a gigantic game for Billy Napier. Also talked Florida State as well, as they have a big game against Memphis. This is probably Memphis' Super Bowl, right? If Memphis wants to make the playoffs, a win over Florida State on your resume would look awfully good at the end of the year. Memphis knows that, so they've put a lot into this game, I'm sure, and Florida State's just looking for a win. Just one win to get off the deck after starting 0-2. Well, that'll just about do it. It has been a crazy busy Tuesday night edition of Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We have a ton of people to thank. Again, Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4 stopping by to talk Jaguars. I'll be down in the Jaguar locker room tomorrow at the Miller Electric Center for a little Jaguar locker room talk, and we'll bring you those conversations both tomorrow and Thursday night here on Hacker After Dark. Thank you to Donovan Maslin, the head coach of the Reigns Vikings. Reigns on Friday night has a huge game at home in the Graveyard against Daytona Beach Mainland. Will be one of the games of the night in the area, so thank you to Donovan Maslin for dropping by tonight. Thank you to the truth teller, Rick Ballou. You get him every couple of weeks here on Hacker After Dark to talk Florida State. And we spent a lot of time with Rick on Florida State and Memphis. And back in hour number 1, Connor O'Gara of SaturdayDownSouth.com as we talked Florida, Florida State, Miami, and more with one of my favorites to talk college football with. That's my buddy, Connor O'Gara. We'll be back tomorrow night on a Wednesday, and we will do it all over again beginning at 8 o'clock. As I said, I'll be down in the Jaguar locker room tomorrow, and we'll bring you some conversations with the guys as they begin preparations for Cleveland coming in here on Sunday afternoon. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the hacker Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Tuesday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. So for all of us here on HAD, have an absolutely terrific remainder of your Tuesday evening, and we will talk to you again tomorrow night on a Wednesday beginning at 8 o'clock. Until then, good night, Jacksonville.
Players spend a lifetime building their bodies into finely tuned muscle machines.
Obviously, you want your star wide receiver to be in top physical and emotional condition.
Listen for the personal injury attorneys Farah and Farah Injury Update. Jacksonville on 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of